Let me say, Mr. Secretary, that I am deeply disappointed and find your performance extremely underwhelming. Is it your recommendation to the president that he sign no deal that keeps their ability to enrich?
Yeah, he doesn't need that recommendation because he's already said that.
Okay. Is it the vice president's position in your conversations with VP Vance that he also does not believe Iran should have any enrichment?
Well, I'm not going to describe our conversations, but I can tell you the vice president is completely aligned with the president in his foreign policy.
So that is his position then?
I wouldn't discuss intelligence matters and even verify whether it's even true. I also don't think it's a mystery, though.
All right, guys. Did you see that look on Moskowitz's face in the teaser? That is the look of a man who thought he was walking into a gotcha moment, only to realize he's in a room with a guy who actually understands the stakes of global security. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into what I think is one of the most satisfying takedowns we've seen in a congressional hearing in a long time. We've got Representative Jared Moskowitz, who, let's be honest, spends more time trying to go viral on Twitter than actually crafting policy, trying to lecture Senator Marco Rubio on Iran. Rubio isn't just some witness here. He's a guy who's been in the trenches of the Intelligence Committee for years. He knows where the bodies are buried. Moskowitz comes in hot, acting smug, trying to pretend the Biden-era appeasement strategy actually worked. But watch what happens. Rubio doesn't just answer the questions. He fundamentally breaks the Democrats' logic until there's nothing left but stuttering and subjecting. Let's get into the full clip.
Recognizes Representative Moskowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me extend my condolences to the Connolly family. Jerry's wit will be missed in this Congress. And so in the spirit of Jerry, let me say, Mr. Secretary, that I am deeply disappointed and find your performance as the National Archivist extremely underwhelming. And just for the record, we don't get to confirm here in Congress, but if we did, I would have voted against your confirmation as the National Archivist.
That vote never happened, so.
I know. I want to talk about Iran for a second, okay? I'm deeply concerned about the language that I'm seeing from the isolationist wing of the party. And I've been kind of shocked that the administration seems to be tougher on Canada, Greenland, than they are on Iran. The Ayatollah insults our president. If the language coming from the Ayatollah was coming from Canada or Greenland or the EU, the president wouldn't stand for it. Yet he allows it from the Ayatollah. Is it your recommendation? I understand that you can't guarantee what Trump would or would not do, but it is your recommendation to the president that he sign no deal that allows Iran to keep enrichment?
Well, here's the answer to that question is the president has made clear that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. He's also been clear, and I think you've seen this in statements over the weekend, for example, that Ambassador Witkoff did on television and the like, that if you have an enrichment capability at any level, you are but steps away from a nuclear weapon. So I think that's why the no enrichment piece is so important.
Right, of course, and that was the issues that many people had with the JCPOA, is they felt that it kept the enrichment capability along with ballistic missile capability, which Iran now has, okay, a delivery system. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, you know, there are many players in this, and I'm going to ask about those, but is it your recommendation, should the president ask of it, I assume he would, is it your recommendation to the president that he sign no deal that keeps their ability to enrich?
Yeah, and he doesn't need that recommendation because he's already said that.
Okay. Is it the vice president's position in your conversations with VP Vance that he also does not believe Iran should have any enrichment?
Well, I'm not going to describe our conversations, but I can tell you the vice president is completely aligned with the president in his foreign policy.
So that is his position then?
The position that they shouldn't have enrichment.
Yeah, is that the vice president?
If they have enrichment, then they will have a weapon, or at least there'll be a near, and everybody in the administration has been consistent on that.
Okay, what about Mr. Witkoff? Is it his position that Iran should not be able to have any enrichment capabilities?
He has said so in public interviews as recently as this weekend, that this is not an enrichment deal, what level Iran gets to keep enrichment. What they have said is if Iran wants a civil nuclear program, like they want to have nuclear energy, there's ways to do that. Other countries have done it without enrichment. That opportunity is available to Iran if they seek it. They haven't been interested in it because they want to keep enrichment. That's the crux of what we're facing here.
So any deal the Trump administration is not going to look anything like JCPOA. Is that your position?
The Trump administration has been very clear that Iran will not get to enrich because if they enrich, they're a threshold nuclear power.
Okay. I want to shift for a second. There was just a leak that is now national news that Israel is poised to strike Iran. Where did that leak come from in the administration? Do we know what department leaked that? Is that being looked into?
Well, I'm not aware of the leak that you're discussing. I'm obviously, I wouldn't discuss intelligence matters and even verify whether it's even true. I also don't think it's a mystery, though. Irrespective, I'm not talking about the leak, I'm not talking about the news story, that Israel has made clear that they retain the option of action to limit Iran from ever gaining a nuclear capability. I don't think that's a mystery, but I wouldn't comment, if I had read the article, I wouldn't comment on intelligence matters, confirm or deny them. As far as leaks are concerned, I don't know. I read stuff in the news every single day that I look at and say, I don't know where these people are coming up with
Well, I mean,
this.
they're given polygraph tests in FEMA to determine where leaks are coming from. That's been well reported and not disputed by anyone in the administration, that they're literally going employees, sitting them down, putting them up to a polygraph, putting them up to, an oxygen monitor, trying to test their heart rate to figure out if they're leaking to the media. Is that sort of same application that is happening in FEMA going to be applied to the National Security Team and to the State Department to figure out who is leaking?
As far as I'm aware, we've not conducted any polygraph tests at the Department of State. Maybe we should, but we haven't.
Okay, all right. So I just want to be clear, because there is a lot of confusion depending on the day, the week, and a lot of the reporting that's coming out, is that any Iran deal, is it your recommendation that should go to Congress to
I actually think the law requires it. If you recall, we passed legislation here a few years ago, and it requires that Congress has a right to weigh in on any deal and could actually reverse any deal. I forgot the acronym for the bill, but it was one that was passed a few years ago, and I was in the Senate when it passed. It was after JCPOA.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Wow, let's talk about a masterclass in not letting the opposition set the terms of the debate. First off, can we talk about Moskowitz's opening? He starts by calling Rubio's performance underwhelming and says he'd vote against his confirmation. Give me a break, Jared. This is the classic Democrat playbook. When you can't win on the facts, you start with the personal insults and the "I'm so disappointed" routine. It's patronizing, it's smug, and it's exactly why people are tired of Washington. But here is where Rubio absolutely murders the argument. The moment Moskowitz starts talking about enrichment, he loses. He tries to frame it like there's some safe level of uranium. Enrichment for a regime that literally chants, "Death to America." Rubio shuts that down instantly. He explains the threshold, nuclear power concept so simply that even a middle schooler could get it. If you enrich at any level, you are just a few turns of a screwdriver away from a bomb. Did you see Moskowitz's reaction? He realizes he just accidentally admitted that the JCPOA, the holy grail of Democrat foreign policy, was a total failure because it allowed that infrastructure to stay in place. Once he realized he was trapped in his own logic, what did he do? He pivoted to leaks and FEMA polygraph tests. He literally went from, let's talk about the existential threat of a nuclear Iran to, hey, what about this news story I read this morning? It was a total retreat. Rubio stayed cool, stayed on point, and didn't let him wiggle out of the corner. And that last bit about congressional oversight? That's the kicker. The Democrats want to bypass the American people and make backdoor deals with the Ayatollahs. Rubio stood his ground and reminded him that the law exists for a reason. This wasn't just a debate. It was a demolition. Moskowitz walked in looking for a soundbite and walked out looking like he needed a nap and a refresher course on international relations 101. But I want to know what you guys think. Was Moskowitz actually trying to get to the truth? Or was he just performing for the cameras? And how hard did Rubio crush him on a scale of 1 to 10? Drop a comment below. Hit that like button if you're glad to see someone finally standing up for a zero enrichment policy. And make sure to subscribe for more of these breakdowns. The adults are back in the room, and his name is Marco Rubio. Catch you in the next one.